Then there's the gateways. I mean, I think that the Corps does a good job with its gateways at all of its recreation areas. Coming into Eufaula, there's Palmer Park. I thought that was very, very nice. I think this is a great first impression. This cracked me up that you actually promote. Do you change your high school football players every year on there? Oh, these are famous ones? Selman. The Selmans are certainly, oh, J.C. Watts, of course. Okay, I get it. By the way, sorry it's out of focus. My camera focused on that. But once again, it's a good first impression. I'm not knocking it. And so it's great with the gazebo there. Welcome Eufaula. Even when it comes to neighborhoods, when you see Longtown estates like this, we found this when we were looking for Carlton Landing. By the way, yes, we did eventually find it. You know what we did? We went out. You know how the road is closed. We're going out, is that 9? Okay, we started going 9, and 9A is the road they're on, right? Okay, so we went out 9, of course it's closed. We knew it was on that peninsula according to that map. It was number 128. And so we went down every single one of those trying to find it. We found some places that I swear we could hear banjo music. If you got that reference, you just dated yourselves. And then there were some beautiful neighborhoods like this, well, like the one you just saw, Longshore or Longtown, whatever it was. And by the way, what a great first impression. Oh my gosh. So I want to talk about gateways. Look at this. How many are thinking, oh, that's the entrance to a trailer park? Raise your hands. Nobody. When you saw that, you're guessing that those are probably pretty high-end homes back there, right? See? You know what it does? It sets an increased perceived value. You know there's no trailers back there. You knew that probably high-end homes. And guess what? If you own a house in that neighborhood, every time you come home and you see that, you're going like, wow, I live here. Okay? It gets your attention, doesn't it? And guess what? It says something about the community. This is pretty high-end. And it sells the real estate faster at an increased value. And guess what? Every single one of these applies to Eufaula as a town. Yet your gateways are pretty insignificant. They're little metal poles. One of them at the north end up here is down in the gully. You know, and I know it's state highway. Where do we put it? And we got to be off the right of way. I get it. But once again, make a statement. And if we come from the north down, we take this. I'm almost glad it covered this. Because, you know, where pride creates progress is a mission statement, not why we should go there. By the way, there's no arrows that tell you which way Eufaula is. I would just get rid of this for right now. I would cut down the crepe myrtles there. I would probably put an arrow that just says downtown left. And I would do a nice monument sign. And actually, you know, I'm sure that ODOT owns this. I'd actually, you know, make a good statement. So, because, you know, state parks do a good job with their gateway signs. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that in Eufaula. Okay? Visitor information. Next one. You know, it's in a great location when you're coming south, coming from the south. But one thing is visitors don't just travel. I don't know what hours it's open, but if it's open like 8 to 5, 9 to 5, visitors don't just travel during those hours. So we always say that every single place should have 24-hour visitor information. You know how you could fix this? For $10, you could put up one of those and put visitor guide in it. Your activities guide. $10. It would be working year-round, all day, 24/7. I mean, it's just that simple. You know, this is in little Wickford, Rhode Island. You know, they put a map of their town and then they put their brochures. Wouldn't it be cool if you did your very best of guide here and then maybe an activities guide on the other side? I mean, how cool is that? This is not rocket science. By the way, when it comes to printed materials, before we travel, number one is word of mouth, friends and family. I'll give you another statistic. Women post things on Facebook to their friends, relatives, family, 92% of the time. Where to shop, where we went, where we ate, 92%. Men, 26%. So if you cater to women, they were going to tell people about their experience in Eufaula. And so, but there it is, word of mouth. Number 2 is the internet. Number 3 is marketing, articles read about you. And number 4, brochures, 32%. Still a third. But once we arrive, brochures are number 1. When we arrive, give me the very best of Eufaula. This is the most important marketing piece. By the way, I forgot to tell you one thing about this. When this came out, there were people that complained they were not in it. Well, I think I'm just as good as they are, and yet you picked me over them. See what I mean? That would never happen here, though, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. But you know what they said afterwards? That was the best $400 I never paid, because I didn't realize when they went into my neighbor's shop, they also came into mine. When we go to the mall, we go to any mall, we go there for the anchor tenants. And while we're there, we might stop into GNC Nutrition Store, a Radio Shack. We might buy a cell phone cover. You know what I mean? All the other ones. So, just remember that. Okay? Number 1, 81%, even more in the internet. And then number 2 is the internet, and then number 3, word of mouth. You know, putting up kiosks like this, you could certainly do a better job than they did with the graphics, and on the back could be brochure distribution. Kingsport, Tennessee did this one. Isn't this cool? And by the way, if you wanted your brochure in there, it was like $3 a month. And that $3 a month kept it stocked, kept it cleaned, and if there's money left over, built another kiosk. And so we even have a video on that about visitor information. My favorite kiosk, and I'd love to see one of these, is in Little Cape May, New Jersey. By the way, this is a town of 1,100. Okay? But in their little downtown core area, I love it. Welcome friends, old and new, linger here a day or two. Oh, see, it evoked emotion. But I don't know how much it costs. I got to get that. But look at this. It has all brochures, business, private businesses, restaurants, you name it in there. I just think it's the coolest little kiosk ever. You know, it's got power in it, so it's lit up at night. You know, build 2 or 3 of those. I mean, look at this one that we saw in Flemington, New Jersey. This is a little bus stop, but what they did is they turned it into a visitor information center. Isn't that cool? But even doing something as simple as this is North Platte, Nebraska. This was $300. It was custom made. It has a state guide, their local guide, and then they could put a best of in there. $300. You lift it up, there it is, North Platte. Here's the state one. There's a local Western, and there's their $300. Wouldn't it be cool if you had 5, 6, 10 of those? And by the way, you need to have them near the highway hotels out there. You need to have them at the casino. You should have them downtown in several locations. You should have them at your sports fields. You know, if you ever have tournaments here, the very best of, so they know where to eat. At the state parks, your recreation sites. I mean, you know what? We have seen BLM and Army Corps put these up. Look, brochure distribution. It's not just their brochures. And why do you do them downtown? Because once people get out of their cars, you have a 4 times greater chance of getting them to spend money. The problem is your visitor center is way down there. If your brochure distribution, I would love to see your visitor information center be right in the middle of town. Then you get people coming both ways. So just remember that. If we can get people out of their cars, we have a 4 times greater chance to get them to spend money. So it wouldn't be great if they got out of the car, they got visitor information, say, oh wow, we should go over there to that ice cream shop or that gallery. It happens. We all do it. So, you know, I mean, at Lake Eufaula State Park, I mean, first of all, these are in bad shape. That's why I put, maybe an Eagle Scout could take one of these and adopt it and make it nicer. But the only thing in here is outdated materials and rules and regulations. Go to State Park, say, State Park, we want to do something for you. We as a town, volunteers, we want to go out and help you refurbish this. In exchange, would it be all right if we put a little brochure holder here that had the very best of Eufaula in there? I'll bet you they do it. We've seen it happen in Illinois and other states. I mean, these are everywhere, all over the county, and all there is maps, rules, and regulations. There's nothing. You're not monetizing any of this stuff. Even at their gift shop, they've got brochure right here, but they do have a little brochure holder, but it's only the state park one. Wouldn't it be cool to say, would you mind if we put up one that promoted Eufaula? Now, they may say, well, if we put up one for Eufaula, we're going to have to put one for Stigler and Chakotah, and they're going to list all the towns. And say, what's wrong with that? Let's just put a row of them right here. I mean, yeah. You know, because you know what? Your state parks are very popular, right? All those campers, all those people there, give them a reason to come into your downtown. There's no information there at all about Eufaula. Matter of fact, if we come from the north and go into the Lake Eufaula one, or if we come from the south and go into Arrowhead, why would we ever come into Eufaula? So at the state park, by the way, talk about signs. They did a good job. They said welcome first and then the rules. And by the way, they put the rules as you walk down the beach. They didn't put it at the entrance. As you come into the state park, we want to tell you about all these rules. Remember that horseback riding place? See, this is how you do it. They did a good job. It's a family-friendly area. You know, I think they did a great job there. But there's all of these opportunities that you could monetize by putting brochure distribution. And by the way, love Deep Fork Nature Center. We didn't get a chance to go through it. It's really cool. And by the way, it should be on your best of list. Because any place that has a frogatorium has got to be cool. But you know what? It's another great place to put brochure holder. Your activities guide when you get your new one. Your activities guide, your best of. You know, there's all these opportunities. Here is Lake Eufaula Marina. You know, and I even thought, well, even right, by the way, here's another no. You know what? Surveillance cameras are in use. All trespassers will be banned and or prosecuted. And it costs $5 to see. I mean, by the time I'm done reading this, it's not worth $5. And by the way, I don't know, is this place ever open? Or is it also out of business? There's no signs, no anything. See what I mean? I mean, you know, our first impression by the end of day Tuesday, it says, is this whole place turning into a ghost town with such great amenities around you? But here's another great opportunity for brochure distribution. It does say hours there, but it was never open during those hours. So we did find a thing called Memorial Overlook. Looked like a beautiful spot. And we read about Lady Bird Johnson and President Johnson. And by the way, even when you promote the lake, do not promote the lake. What I want you to do is promote Lake Eufaula State Park Memorial Overlook, best of. Fantastic views. See what I mean? You need to promote the experiences around the lake, not the lake. And by the way, this is there, and oh, this is really useful. You got this whole board, nothing's on it, and this whole, we got one little sign. You know what? For $300, you could have the very best of Eufaula all over this county. And I bet you they would give you permission to do it. You know, at the dam, I couldn't really figure out where you would put brochure distribution. Maybe that's a freestanding kiosk. And by the way, we saw this and went, cool, I'd like to go there for that. Is it, when this happens, do people go down there to watch? See, that'd be a perfect hidden gem. But that could be in your thing. By the way, every once in a while when we have rains, and I heard about the flood last year. And so, but it's like, wow, that's going to change the, I mean, that would be quite a sight to behold. That could be pretty cool. But I think you could put a little standalone visitor kiosk on that side and on both sides. Because, you know, we're there, we're watching. Wouldn't it be great if we pulled out the brochure and while we're in the car, we're finding great places to eat, great shops to go visit. You're not monetizing all this at all. Okay? You know, we did eventually find the fairgrounds. And you should have several here. And as a matter of fact, this is the first time. So I got a question for you. Does the city own the county fairgrounds? Or is this a gateway? Welcome to the city, and this is the city. Well, that's what it looks like. Welcome to the city of Eufaula. The mayor and city council live here. So that I couldn't figure out what that was there for. And then even Carlton Landing, you know, they're probably not going to let you put a brochure holder in the little gazebo, but they do have there, what's that building? They have a building right across the street from it where their sales office is. Maybe in there they'd have a very best of Eufaula brochure handed out. And then even on the marina, I mean, there's no information here. And by the way, I went in there, Wednesday we went in there, and I said, so, do you guys rent boats? She goes, oh yeah. And I said, so tell me how much. She goes, it's this much per hour. It's a 4-hour minimum. Here it is for all day. We have 2 different kinds. We have a tri-brand, this boom, 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 boom. And I'm going, do you have a brochure? Goes, oh no, we don't have brochures. Okay, and they said, oh, you can go on our website. I went to our website. I can't find boat rentals on their website. She says, well, just go out there. You'll see a couple of them. That's the sales pitch. I'm going, what is with these people? I mean, it's like you want to go out of business. And so the other thing is, you need to invite us back. So we go out to the fairgrounds. There's no signs anywhere that say that anything ever takes place there. So do you have a county fair? When is it? In 2 weeks? Where's the sign? Anywhere. I mean, there's the Eufaula Roundup Club's annual rodeo. When is the annual rodeo? During Whole Hog Day. When is that? July. Where's the sign? Every one of these places should have a sign that says 2016, 2017 events, and all you have to do is list them. It's an invitation. We found the fairgrounds. You gave us no reason to ever go back. I mean, this stuff is so inexpensive to do. You know, if we go back to the state park here and we find this, is this ever used for anything? See what I mean? And there's no signs that say every weekend in June, July, and August, we do camp such and such interpretive things. There's nothing. You know, however, they do have this. Youth Fishing Derby, Labor Day. I went, yes, finally somebody somewhere is putting up something to invite us back over Labor Day weekend. And here's the worst example of all. I mean, I think it's abandoned, but if this, is this the amphitheater I read about? Is this it? Well, there's no signs, there's no anything. All we see is pallets. We see stuff, weeds growing through it. We saw storage semis in there. We could not even find an entrance. Around, we finally find it. There's the entrance. Wow. I don't know how anybody would find that. And then we saw it. Been out of business for 20 years.
They use it once a year.
It looks like it's been out of business for 20 years. There's no sign that says anything ever happens there. I mean, the fences are falling down. I mean, the whole thing is just a disgrace. And you know, by the way, as a city, I would not allow chain link fence inside your downtown core area. It makes you look institutional, like a jail. But once again, I mean, look at this. It's like, does anybody have a clue? And so, you also have to deliver on the promise, whatever you put out there in your marketing. Okay? Really important. So in the visitor's guide, it says, Eufaula Inspiration Garden is a must-see stop for all ages. See all the beauty the earth can behold. And it went on and on and on. And we went, really? It looks like it's been abandoned for the last 15 years. I mean, you know, you can even see the little bunny here is just, you know, in the weeds. I mean, you know, I'm really, this is your must-see, must-stop. And I got to tell you, it's just not very inspirational. You know, there was a guy out there He has a pumpkin patch going. He was watering this. But if you're going to start promoting this stuff and we go there, we go, really? If this is a must-see stop, I can't imagine the other stuff. I'm sorry. Don't promote something unless you can deliver on the promise. You know, I think it could be one of your hidden gems if somebody would bring it back or work on it. And then there's the importance of curb appeal. And I want to start right here. This is next to the inspiration garden. I mean, I would have a couple of hanging baskets there, you know, just so it looks like it's open and in business. You know, as you drive around the lake, you see a place like this. I mean, how many of you would eat at this place? And you know what? It might be fantastic. But you know what? When we travel, I'll bet every single person in this room has said these words. That looks like a nice place to eat. Have you said it? I wouldn't say it there. But when we travel to other places, you see a nice restaurant, you go, oh, that looks like a nice place to eat. I mean, for this one here, you know, they started, but then the weeds and everything just took over. These are dying. I mean, it just... So here's a statistic. I'm going to give you 3 really important statistics. Here's the first one. 70% of first-time sales comes from curb appeal. 70% of first-time curb appeals. Oh, that looks like a nice place to eat. That looks like a nice place to stay. 70% of first-time sales. Once we're inside, and if it's great, even though it looks tacky, we will come back. But it's that first time. You know, and I'm going to show you an experience of that. And so, when you're driving around and you see this, would you eat the hair? I mean, you know, I'm going, really? You know, I don't even know if this is, it says home decor and everything, going, oh my gosh. I'm not sure I want to buy things in there to decorate my house with. See, and you know what we're doing? We're making a judgment. It may be fantastic. But we make judgments by curb appeal. You know? Now this, when we first pulled in and we saw this, we went, oh my gosh, look at that. That looks incredible. We are so impressed by Jellystone there. I mean, the sign is nice. The landscaping is nice. I mean, the building looks nice. We took pictures over the fence. I mean, we just went, wow. The one thing I would change over there is the guard gate with a stop. All vehicles must check in, and you know, and I'd probably paint this up. But I understand that you probably, if you check, what I would put there is put welcome. Instead of all this, I just put welcome. Please pick up a gate key at the registration desk. That way it's not like, stop, Gestapo guard gate. You know, this shouldn't look like Checkpoint Charlie. So this is the importance of curb appeal, but it looks like a fantastic place. We did find the stuffed olive. It looks great. I mean, it has good curb appeal. It looks like upscale. But then, of course, you know, here it is, hours, really, it's just 3 days a week. And then we heard lots of people saying, well, if you're lucky, it's 3 days a week. Really sad. But you know what? Because it was rated so high on TripAdvisor, we thought, okay, you got to do the Memorial Overlook, you got to add stuffed olive. Okay, I don't know. Hopefully it's good. We weren't able to eat there. I don't know if they were actually open last night, which was Thursday. We're busy working on this. And so we're driving around talking about curb appeal, and we finally found this thing called the airport. And of course, it obviously looks like it's been abandoned for, well, these weeds, they grow pretty fast around here. Maybe only 5 years has it been abandoned. And we have no idea, is this airport actually operate at all? It does? Well, there's no signs, there's no phone numbers, there's no, I mean, is there a fuel truck? Are there tie downs? If I was to fly in, can I tie my plane down? I mean, there's no information. Who owns the airport? Okay? So, you know, I mean, I could see a few hangars, and we did see a paved runway out there, but there's nothing, there's no information anywhere. I'm going, okay, you guys, this isn't that hard to do. You know, we could see a windsock out there, and so, you know, but it sure doesn't look very active. Get it? Okay, my pun wasn't very funny. We did find your elementary and middle school. It looks fantastic. And remember, we're here looking for a place to live. And the high school looks okay. It doesn't look as good as the middle and grade school, but it looks okay. And we could see that you're a sports town, aren't you? Yeah, you can tell that. And because this is actually a very good field. Usually the guests have to sit on chairs out there. So, you know, I was glad that they even had their own grandstand. So anyway, looks okay. We did see the library, looks okay. I mean, you know, these are all things we had to drive around, find them. We found the casino eventually. I don't know how we found it. I think we were looking for something else and oh, there it is. But then we're driving to the casino saying it looks okay. It's a little underwhelming, obviously, compared to, I mean, you know, Oklahoma, casinos every 5 miles. And then as you're there in the parking lot and you're going, oh my God, hopefully that just happened like on Monday and they're going to fix it next week. This is how we judge you. You know, we did eat at Puddle Jumpers. Looks great. I would just add some hanging baskets and things just to make sure that we know you're open. And then somebody said, you should go to JM's. And by the way, they cleaned it all up. They remodeled it. They went in there. They just really worked really hard. It just reopened. You're going to love it. We would have never gone in there from the curb appeal. We went in there the other day, and it didn't look any different than it looked in 1945. I don't know what they did, but it wasn't a good experience. They couldn't get the orders right. It was, no offense, we just, the people that are working there were really nice, but it was like, one table was doing a party and they brought out steaks and nobody at the table ordered a steak and I felt bad for them. You know, and then it was like, I mean, it just was like, I was shocked. But the curb appeal, I would never go in there. We went in there because it was referred to us, okay? But, you know, even places like this, I mean, there's no benches, there's not one stick of landscaping or anything anywhere. And you know what? Motels can do it. Look at that. That looks nice. That's a little mom and pop hotel in a little town. This is up in Claire's home in Alberta. This is a 1950s, 60s motel. Look at that. It looks great. What they did is they took the first 2 or 3 feet out there and landscaped it. I stayed there because it looked so great. The rooms were a little dated, but you know what? It was nice. You know, I mean, so I don't know why these motels don't do anything. It looks awful. It doesn't look like a bad motel, but there's not one shred of anything that even says they're still in business. And when you put landscaping and hanging baskets out, you know what it tells people? They're open because somebody's maintaining them. And so you see these from the freeway. I mean, they do, anglers has nothing, we do have weeds, but you know, but this is what you see from the highway. We heard it's a good restaurant, we hadn't eaten there, but you know, the Best Western looks good, it's got landscape, it's got colorful, I mean, it looked, after we saw it, we said, maybe we should have stayed there, it looks actually decent. You know, I mean, this may be a great restaurant, what's your first impression? So let's talk about downtown. Oh boy. Getting nervous? Well, let me tell you about downtowns, first of all. First of all, 7 facts. Downtown, look at this. The #1 activity of visitors in the world is shopping, dining, and entertainment in a pedestrian-friendly, intimate setting. That's the it's not why they come. They come for the lake. But it's the #1 activity they do. And look at this. That is where 80% of the non-lodging spending takes place. And your downtown is closed when we get off the lake at 6 o'clock. 80%. So you know what? You can market the lake all day long. You can bring millions of people onto the lake. And what Give me one penny of good it's going to give to Eufaula if you don't do that. Why do you think that Disney put Downtown Disney outside each of its parks? Get that 80%. So, the average visitor is active 14 hours a day. They spend 4 to 6 hours of the primary activity. I mean, how many hours can you go fishing? Okay, some of you guys, days. Bring me a case of beer, I'll be out there for a week. But average 4 to 6 hours of the primary activity, fishing, hiking, biking, golfing, whatever it is. And then we spend 8 to 10 hours with complementary activities. And that, shopping and dining, is number one. So there you go. That's number one fact about downtowns. Number two, tourism is the front door to your non-tourism economic development. But you know what? Even site selectors, commercial real estate, you know what they do? They will go into your downtown, and the health of your downtown economically is the health of the community. So what do you think they're saying when they're walking down Main Street? Downtowns and tourism need to be joined at the hip. Number three, downtowns are critical to your success. The heart and soul of any community besides its people is its downtown. And by the way, if you don't hang out in your downtown, neither will visitors. And you don't. You got to bring your downtown back. I mean, and by the way, people want downtowns more than ever before. We're almost back. How many of you remember Petula Clark, 1964, downtown? We have an old audience, don't we? No, I'm just kidding. I remember it. But you know what? For a long time, downtowns died. People want downtowns more than ever before. Downtowns are back. And you've got the makings. And here's why they're back. Because we are in the age of third places. The first place is the place we live. It's our home. Okay? The second place is where we work. And the third place is the place we go hang out. Where is it that you go to hang out? That's your third place. Starbucks built an entire brand out of creating third places. I mean, you have the potential for this. And you know what? Here you go. That is the future of downtowns. It's where we go after working on weekends and you're closed. You know what? We're going to get into that, but this is the future of downtowns. Fact number 6. In economic development, tourism, and community development, there is absolutely, positively, I stole those from FedEx, nothing that's more important than your downtown. Nothing. But here's the scoop. You can spend millions of dollars putting out all the beautiful streetscapes you have, and you can still be dead as a doornail. Because at the end of the day, it's what's in the buildings that makes you a draw. That's the missing ingredient. You've done a great job beautifying your downtown. I don't know who takes care of those planners and stuff. They're doing a fantastic job. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But so many cities, I'm going to give them a shout out in a minute. And so they'll do this, but they don't work on what's in the buildings. So let's talk about downtown. I'm going to start with blade signs. Can you tell me what's in any of those shops? Here's the scoop. When we're driving down the street or walking down the sidewalk, this is our line of sight, we see signs that are perpendicular to us. Perpendicular. We're not going to walk out in the middle of the street to see what's up on those awnings. And by the way, when you're driving by in a car, you can't see above 12 feet. Yet your signs are up there. There's nothing that tells me what's down there. Why would I keep walking down there? I mean, or there. What's in these shops? I'm out here on the teetering on the curb, just trying to get a picture, trying to figure out what's in these stores. These are blade signs. By the way, one thing you will notice, it's very clear what it is they sell. Chocolate, collectibles, trains, restaurant. To do. If the city doesn't allow it, you change the ordinance. Change the ordinance. Now, I've heard the argument. We can't, if merchants put blade signs and they fall on the sidewalk, we own the signs, we could be liable as a city. You know, sometimes our legalities kill our downtowns. But what you do is say, no, it falls under their umbrella insurance. It's part of the retailer's insurance. I mean, the best cities in America all have blade signs. That's Nantucket. I mean, there it is. Notice they don't have to be, this could be round, square, rectangle, but notice they're consistent with height. This is Carmel, California. I mean, blade signs. Valparaiso, Indiana, a little bigger scale, so these are a little bigger signs. I mean, this is Canmore, Alberta. Isn't that great? Blade signs. This is Lethbridge, Alberta. These are built to 100-mile-an-hour wind loads. Okay, by the way, they were just putting them up when I was taking these pictures. So if a business changes, they just take this out and they can replace it. And by the way, all these changes are welded in place. So there's some general rules for you. You need to have blade signs up and down your main street. Consistent height so they're not all over the place. Blade signs. Because you know what? There's absolutely zero incentive for me to keep walking down this street. I have no clue what's in any of the buildings. You can even create a buying co-op to make this happen, where you go find a sign maker, and then you put together some rules. And by the way, I also believe for the city that this should not be a planning commission. I believe that downtowns should have their own design review committee. It is a jury of your peers. Okay? Now, and I'm all about the planning process, but I always believe in a downtown, it's merchants helping merchants. Like no phone numbers on these signs, no more than 6 words. Make sure they fit within here. And I think that's a good way to get merchants involved in the planning process. And so, you know, a design review team, remember, these are all suggestions. And so, you know, I mean, even this one, you got to go way out in the sidewalk, and I'm trying to get a picture of what it is, because the sign's above the awning. You know, these, I only know what's in this store as if I'm out in the street or across the street, and that doesn't help because you don't believe in crosswalks in this town. They've all worn off and nobody's ever taken the time to repaint them. So, the other thing for merchants is promote what you're selling before the name of the store. So, Lake Life, love it. Love their logo, went in and talked to them. But the thing is, if this was, and by the way, when you start seeing this, it just brings the quality down. If this wasn't out here, I have no idea what they sell besides, they must sell clothes. But you know what? They have all kinds of cool beachy home decor in there. But there's no blade signs, I wouldn't have a clue. Okay? And by the way, I don't know what Lake Life is. See what I mean? They do screen printing. See, there's nothing that says. And said, the Boy Howdy store. I have no clue whether this is a marine supply store, a variety store, a mercantile. I don't know what it is. What is it? All of the above. Well, if they just put mercantile, because that works for all of the above, but we don't know. All it says is Boy Howdy store, and we can see we have deer attractant powder and life preservers. Not sure, you know, how that works. I have no idea what this is. I know there's an art festival, September 30th, October 1st, 2nd, and here says $75 for a standing rock. So I don't know whether it's a gallery, whether it's a studio. I have no idea what it is. And by the way, we never saw it open any time this week. You know, even here, Lydia's. I assume Lydia sells women's clothing just because there's a clothes rack out there. But I wouldn't know otherwise. This one here, you know, restaurant, barbecue, supply store, you're right. I don't know what you are. And by the way, call ahead. You have to call ahead. Does that mean they only take reservations? I couldn't figure it out. Somebody said, oh, they're already out of business. They're not? See, 2 or 3 people said they're out of business. Well, it does say Thursday through Saturday, 11 to 8:30. But if I want to eat here, do I have to call ahead? Well, it says I have to call ahead. And by the way, there's no area code. I'm from out of the area, so I don't even know. I mean, but can you understand how people would be confused? But several people told us that they already went out of business. Just so you know. By the way, I'm telling everybody they're in business. But I would never have a clue. And once again, I don't know how you can survive as a town if you're only open 3 days a week during 4 months of the year. I mean, I think that's really sad that you're doing that. And then our favorite place. I have no idea what our favorite place is until I read this. However, it is our favorite place in town. We walked in there and we were blown away that there was something of quality in Eufaula. It's one of the best galleries we've seen, and we're on the road. I'm on the road 250 days a year doing this, 250 days. And it was fantastic. I mean, I just went, oh my gosh. For all those people living out at Carlton Landing and all these high-end homes, there is a shop for them. But you know what? We almost didn't go in there because we don't know what our favorite place is until we saw a Made in Oklahoma store. And absolutely, these all have to come up one at a time every time. We got stuff, all of it, and absolutely our favorite place will be on there. Here's the other thing for downtown. This is the most important of all. This is the rule of critical mass, and in 3 blocks. So from the abandoned gas station to this corner right here, you got about what, 2.5 blocks, 3 blocks? Here's what you need. If you want your downtown to be a draw all by itself, this is the minimum of what you need in 3 linear blocks. You ready? These are not square blocks, so I'm not talking about things that are down your side streets. On Main Street, you need to have at least 10 places that sell food. 10. Okay? But by the way, it can be an ice cream shop. I can't believe you don't have a coffee shop in this town. Where? Who else has? Now you're coming up with all these places. See, this is why you need to do the best of. Okay? 10 places of food. But by the way, those count. However, I only went to this intersection. You know, once you go past this intersection, it seems like you've left downtown. You know, I didn't even notice them over there. And so, number 10, 10 destination retail shops. So there you go. And here's the third 10. You ready? At least 10 of those open after 6. You know, your downtown needs to get the mall mentality, which means we need to work together so that we're open on consistent days and hours. You know what? Where's the nearest mall? When you go shopping, your big shopping, do you go all the way to Tulsa? Where do you go? You go to Muskogee. Okay, good. Okay, you go to Muskogee and you do your shopping there. And if you went to a mall and some stores open at 7, 8, 9 in the morning, when would you go to the mall? You'd wait till they're all open, right? If some stores close at 5, 6, and 7, when would you go to the mall? Well, you'd have to go on weekends because you're at work. You're doing other stuff during the time. And this is why if a merchant signs a lease in a mall, here's what the lease will say. You need to be open by 10 a.m. If you're not open by 10:05, it's $1,000 for every 5 minutes you open late. That's a mall lease. Same with closing. Yet in your downtown, some are open on weekends, some are open. I mean, it was such a hodgepodge mix, you know, that we didn't know what to do. Look at this. You know what? When I grew up in the 70s, I worked for Sears, back when Sears was a going concern. I was going to college. And you know what? At first they were closed on Sundays. Then they were open 12 to 5 on Sundays. They were open 9 to 6 on Saturdays. They were open from, I think, 10 to 7 during the week. You know what? You go to any retail mall now, today, It doesn't matter. Pharmacies, you name it, they're open from 10 to 9. You wonder why everybody in Eufaula goes to Dakota or goes to McAllister, because Walmart's open till midnight or 24 hours. So, they have like businesses grouped together. They always have anchor tenants, and they become a central gathering place. Think about this. Antique malls do 10 times the business when they're together than if they're scattered all over. Auto malls do 7 times. Why would Chevrolet need to be right next to Chrysler, Ford, and everybody else? They're competitors because they do 7 times the business when people are grouped together. It's the same with food courts and restaurants, corner gas stations, lifestyle retail centers. So sometimes you have to orchestrate the effort. Okay? So, I did an inventory of downtown Eufaula. These are shaded because these aren't even on Main Street, but I put them here anyway. Oh, actually this one is, but I didn't know, it's a bar. I don't even know if it serves food. It doesn't. So it shouldn't even be on there. So that means you already have 6. If we count Charmed and JM's, you have 6. You only need 4 more. You're not that far away. But then when it comes to these, I mean, you know, you do have a consignment store. They don't count. And I already pushed it on some of these. I'm talking about visitor-oriented retail. And so you have these. You got 8. You're not that far away. But, you know, here's what's missing. Give me a fine dining center, just one. Give me one. I mean, this whole week is like, oh my gosh, where are we going to eat? We fought to try to eat here. Couple of coffee shops that are coffee shops, not just tea rooms in the back or something. Coffee shops. And okay, we got one. I'll take one out. Do another one. Where's a good bookstore? By the way, a bookstore and a coffee shop work together. You have one? Where is it? Is it on Main?
Our favorite place.
Oh, our favorite place?
We have got free Wi-Fi, we have a coffee shop,
But you,
books.
well, you do have to, well, I mean, we were in there and shopped it, but I don't remember seeing a lot. I'm talking about a bookstore, but yeah, okay. A bike store? An outfitter or two? I'd love to see an outfitter downtown where every morning they take the kayaks and they stack them up against the building. A bike shop that would rent bikes. I mean, if you have this, you have some of this stuff, but it's scattered all over the place. A wine and spirits retailer, boating supply store. I'd love to see one in downtown to pull people from the marina into downtown. I mean, another gallery. I'd love to see another one. Let's see, what else? Vacation clothing, more casual, which I know you have some. I'd like to see even more. What you have is you have some stores like Auntie Faye's that say, well, we have baby clothes and we have a soda fountain and we have some home accents, we have some of everything. But then what happens is you don't stand for really anything. You're just kind of, we just put in there whatever we think we can sell to somebody. And there's no real focus. And so home accent store, a real estate, we love this. Real estate in towns like this are big on the main street. You may say, well, how does that have to do with retail? It doesn't, but people are coming here. It's lake. You're on the lake. We want to live here, want to retire here. So that actually works. A kitchen store would be great. And so these are just some that we saw were missing. And if they're here, we didn't know it. It wasn't very obvious in those 3 blocks. Okay? You have to orchestrate the effort. We did that in Jackson, Wyoming. And you know what? I would upscale your offerings a bit. You have a lot of money here, and they're not spending any of that in Eufaula, I don't think. Maybe at our favorite place, because no question. By the way, here's when spending takes place. You saw the first one, 787 rule. 70% of first-time sales come from curb appeal. I'm going to give you the 80% coming right up, and then 70% of that retail spending after 6 p.m. 70% of all bricks and mortar retail spending takes place after 6 p.m. By the way, people question me on that all the time. That came from the National Retail Federation. That is why the CVS's and all these places are open till 9 and 10 o'clock, 7 days a week. We're moving to the European standard. You know what? In the 60s, we ate dinner at 5:30. You know when the average American eats dinner now? 7:30. We're moving that way, and yet your merchants don't get it. 70%. Okay. You know, I just want to make sure, if you want to pull out your cell phones, I want to make sure that everybody can see this and, and pass that on. Think about this. Think about this for a second. You're promoting Lake Eufaula, right? It's what put you in the tourism industry. And during the day, we're fishing, we're boating, we're hiking, we're swimming, we're golfing, we're kayaking, we're canoeing, we're hunting. We're doing all of that. We're doing all of that. We do it during the day. We come back at the end of the day, and you're closed. You're not even open during the week. And the boomers that count for, you ready for this? 80% of all travel spending is boomers. They are traveling during the week. And you're closed. I mean, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so, little things, I don't even know if this is ever open. There's no signs, there's nothing. So, here's our experience shopping in downtown. Went to Annie Faye's the other day. Says they're open until 5. Went there at 4:20, the doors were locked. Talked to the girl yesterday. She goes, yeah, if it's slow, we just close. You know what we do? You know what visitors do? They go and tell all their friends, well, if you want to get there, it's only safe if you get there right around noon and only on Fridays and Saturdays. And you wonder why you have no business. I mean, we talked to many of your merchants says we're staying alive on credit card debt. You have to change that. And it starts by changing when you're open and when the customers actually shop. So that was our experience there. We saw another shop that says we'll be back at 3:30 on the door. We went back at 4, 4:30, and 5. They never did come back. Then stuffed olive. You know what? Summer hours, Thursday through Saturday, 10:30 to 3. They've been closed all week, and somebody said they just went out of business. Well, no wonder. No wonder. You know what? You're paying rent 7 days a week, 30 days a month. And, there are ways to fix this. We can have a video that will show you how. Lydia's hours, Tuesday through Friday. Theirs is Tuesday through Friday. Saturday they're open. It's just all over the place. It's just a nightmare. And so, what I would suggest is Memorial Day, Labor Day, you should be open 11. I'd rather see you open later and stay open later. 11 to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. By the way, we have a video that tells you how to do this with shared worker program, working with colleges and universities. There's a video that will tell you how to do this so that merchants are saying, I can't afford to have employees. You know what? You can't afford not to do this. Shoulder seasons, maybe April, May, September, and October. Maybe it's 11 to 9, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll give you one example. We were just working in a little town called Springdale, Utah. Population, 700. It's not close to any metropolitan area like Tulsa. It's not even close to any town as big as Muskogee. Population, 700. It does have one advantage. It's right at the entrance to Zion National Park. However, what's interesting is every single shop there, they're all ma and pa. There are no chains. They're all open till 9 o'clock p.m., 7 days a week. All of them, ma and pop. They struggle. They work with university students. They get workers from everywhere they can. They are all open. And you know what has happened? Springdale's now a destination. Even if Zion National Park was closed, people would still be going to Springdale. All of these, they're open till 9 o'clock at night, 7 days a week, year round. Population, 700. And they're becoming a destination in their own right. You know what? If you had a major outbreak in the lake and you had to close the lake, what would happen to you as a town? You need to make sure that your town is the draw. You know, I'll give you one more. We were working in Jackson, Wyoming. Jackson Hole, Jackson, Wyoming. Population 10,000. You know what they call themselves? Oh, we're the gateway to the Grand Teton National Park. Well, you know what happened is they concentrate on art, Homo Western art. Guess what? The most asked question way up at West Yellowstone, Montana, at the National Park Visitor Center, the Montana State Visitor Center, the most asked question is this: which is the quickest way to Jackson Hole? And they say, well, the quickest way is to go down Highway 26 in Idaho and then jump over the Teton Pass, you'll be right there. Well, is there a way we could go go get our picture taken in Old Faithful, then come out and get down there? Those are the most asked questions. It is now a bigger draw than both the national parks. You could do that in 3 blocks. So, I want to continue with curb appeal. And you remember, I put this up there. I'm just going to put it up there again. The city or somebody has put a lot of time and a lot of effort into these landscapes. Who maintains these? Who is it? Well, they do a fantastic job. Fantastic. I loved them. I photographed. I said, I'm going to start showing these everywhere I go. I'm going to start promoting Eufaula. And I said, I'm going to put these everywhere. They're just beautifully done. Just really great job on the corners and everywhere. I mean, as a matter of fact, I love what the bank did here. That is a bank, right? And they're working on an extension. I went, I want that to be a restaurant with all out. I mean, I saw this in there and I went, oh my gosh, is that cool or what? Anyway, so just beautiful jobs. And you know what? Some of your merchants. Now here's the scoop. We believe that cities should be responsible for curbside beautification. The curb, that side. Street trees, the planters. Merchants and downtown associations need to do facades. That is not the city's responsibility. Their job is out here, your job is over there. And some of your merchants do fantastic. As a matter of fact, I will be showing pictures of Eufaula all over. I can't show this one because I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Okay? Fantastic. That is just fantastic. That is excellent. I mean, some of your merchants do a fantastic job. We know they're open. We know they're in business. But you know what? The only reason I know this is in business is because of these 2 umbrellas. If those weren't there, I would have thought there was nothing open there. I mean, why would you ever go down that street? Well, of course, there's nothing in it, but you know. You know, I mean, here it's like, really? And we have 1 pot, 2. These should be, by the way, every 3 feet. And by the way, there should be a pot, a bench, and a pot. A pot, a bench, and a pot. And you know what? Yeah, I'm getting there. I heard the laughter about the benches. Okay. And so, but like here, there's just nothing to pull us in. Nothing. I don't even know if the place is still open. You know, no blade signs, you know, and I've Twisted Sisters Bo Keep and Granny Vapors. I'm going, okay. I mean, this here is just a total shame. That should be all full of tables and chairs. Just a shame. So you know what you could do? You could do what they did in Fredericksburg, Texas. Anybody here been down to Fredericksburg? Guess what? Population 5,000. It's the most visited town of under 500,000 in Texas. Fredericksburg. You know what their merchants did? They did this cool thing. They said, you know what? We need to beautify our downtowns. So their tourism organization went downtown and walked along the merchants and said, we want to go buy some pots and stuff and really beautify our storefronts. Give us whatever you can afford. One merchant said $5, here's $20. One merchant gave them 200. They just got whatever money they could. They went over to a nursery wholesaler and they said, at the end of the season in October, we want to buy all the leftover pots you got. The only thing is they need to be 21 inches open at the top or bigger. So we don't want little ones. And they don't have to match. They could have a crack in them, stuff you can't sell. We want you to give them to us at your cost or less, so you can get rid of your inventory. They made the deal. In October, they went there with a flatbed Ford, a flatbed truck. They loaded them all up in pots, brought them back, put them on a side street, and said, merchants, go grab them. They didn't say, you only paid $5, you only get one. They just said, go grab them. So this merchant went and grabbed these. This merchant grabbed these. Another merchant grabbed those down there. I mean, this merchant grabbed 2 of these, and they just put them all downtown. Now it's October. And then they said, they did a cool thing. They took a dump truck load of topsoil and dumped it on a side street. And then they put some gravel there. And they bought some landscape fabric. Then they went to their high school. Cheerleaders, band, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you name it. Any youth organization that was trying to raise money. And they said, will you help us plant these? What we want you to do is go put gravel in there, a layer of fabric, and then fill it full of topsoil. So they did. And you know what? It's winter. And so then they went to a nursery and got some evergreens, like these are evergreens, but some of them, they were waiting for annuals. So you know what they did? They stuck pinwheels in them all winter. It made the news. The pinwheels all going there because it looked really incredible walking down the street and seeing all these pinwheels. But you know, they never had one single case of vandalism because kids protect things they take ownership of. And they got a little money. And you know what? It worked. Does that make you want to go in? Blade sign, beautification. Because you know what? Would you keep walking down the sidewalk if you're on Main? Poor Charmed Bakery down there. No blade signs, no umbrellas, nothing telling us that they're there. I wish they were on Main. But that's the problem. And by the way, I don't even know if you could get down there. You know, these pots should probably be over here and not right there. I mean, it does need as much beautification as we can give JMs, but Charmed is fantastic. As a matter of fact, they're really great people. It's a great place, and we're putting them on the best of list. We had lunch there, and it was great. Okay? So look at this. Neenah, Wisconsin. Before, after. Sales went up 35% just doing that. 35%. And by the way, it can work in the winter. There's just no reason why you can't beautify your downtown, and some get it. The other thing you need to do is extend window displays to exterior spaces. We believe that every merchant should have 18 to 24 inches to extend window displays to exterior spaces. If it's not allowed, change the ordinance. Okay? Now, these are window displays. Every morning this lady brings out these displays, window displays to exterior spaces. This merchant, she does this every single morning. I said, does this really help your business? She goes, if I didn't do this, I'd look like my neighbor. Yeah, you're right. Oh, there is a neighbor? I don't see your restaurants doing that. That was $400. I mean, this is Canmore, Alberta, population 10,000. You know, every merchant. I said, but do people steal stuff? She goes, well, we end up with somebody to lift something every once in a while, but we get way more business than we have thefts. You know, every morning she puts, so rather than put a clothes rack out here, she'll put one item, you know, and do that. That is extending window displays to exterior spaces. That's great. We love to see merchants do this instead of sandwich boards. You know, this is awesome. They just pull you right in. So in Eufaula, we do this, which is, that's really great. Love the flag. That's really great. That's bad. No clothes rack should be outside. You know what? When you put clothes racks out there, you would never put clothes rack in your display window, so you don't put it outside. It makes you look like a second-class garage sale town. And so, you know what? And by the way, anti-phase, we got to put them on here because just the decorations in there, the little, I called it a soda fountain in the back, is really cool. It's just a great little shop. Most of your shops, once you go inside, you go, wow, this is really cool. But from the outside, you'd never go in there. And so I think they do a great job. And so, you know, so here we go. That is fantastic. That is bad. Okay? This is, you know, bad. By the way, windows. Never more than 4 posters or flyers in a window. So how many of you have gone here and just said, okay, give me 5 minutes, I need to read through all these posters and flyers? Because what they have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we got our sign 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Then we've got all of our Visa signs at 19. And then we got more over here. And then we got more over here. I mean, and then you've got, you know, what else do I have here? Oh, we got bad over there. And then we got awful. You know, and all you have to do is put a mannequin out there or just something that makes it look like you have quality in your town. You know, this one here, there's nothing that says welcome. It's just no solicitors, ID required, must be 21, reserved the right to refuse, you know, no entry, restrooms are reserved. I mean, it's like, whoa, holy smokes, are they going to frisk me when I come in? And then, I just go, okay, this is not working. Other thing I want you to do is sidewalk dining. I would love to see merchants do this. This is in Door County, Wisconsin. This is all asphalt right up to the building. They put out some AstroTurf, or they now call it synthetic turf. And then they put out these little pots and some puts the table chairs. Tripled their business. But you know what? I know this is a state highway, but I've seen it done in other states where they will allow restaurants to actually lose a couple of parking spaces during the peak season to route pedestrians around so they can do sidewalk dining and still allow for wheelchairs and strollers to get up and down the sidewalk. I think that's really cool. That's Wolfville, Nova Scotia, a little town. Isn't this cool? And so during the winter there, because they have severe winters, they put all the stuff in storage. But every restaurant is allowed to take up a couple of parking spots, and then they route the pedestrians around here, and then they have all the outdoor dining. Just fantastic. And you know what? I saw a building here in town that looks like it's being remodeled. I went, okay, oh man, this building right here should be a restaurant, because restaurants work great on the corners. And I thought, if this was a restaurant, number one, I could see one of those decks right here where these 2 or 3 pickups are. So that you can put a couple of tables and chairs out here, and then right here, you would just put one of those decks right here. See, between this space and this space. So you do this 1, 2, 3. Now, I've heard the arguments. If you take away the parking in front of my building, you're going to kill my business. Here's your response. Are you telling me your business isn't worth walking 2 blocks for? Right? Let me give you a statistic. The average shopper at Walmart parks 140 feet away from the front door, average. Yet a person going to Walmart has no problem walking 140 feet to the front door and then walking all the way to the back of the store to pick up a Blu-ray or DVD. They just walked 2 blocks. It was worth it. So when I hear those arguments, you take away the parking, as long as you have wayfinding that says, by the way, public parking, back a block. Tell us where it is, no problem. If you go to Disney, even though they have trams, they take it from the parking in, you still block 2 or 3 blocks from your car just to the tram. It's worth it. But wouldn't that be cool there? Wouldn't it be cool if right there, so now what you have is a restaurant, then you've got, and in their case, you would actually do the dining on that deck. Or it could be the sidewalk and you route pedestrians around, either way. Yeah, I mean, I love this. See, you can see somebody, he's just walking around it. This is in Barrie, Ontario. See? All fits ADA, and then you can take up your sidewalk. And you know what happens? And I've seen it on state highways, because there is a railing out there. It does have reflectors on it. And you know, most states, we work with many departments of transportation. Departments of transportation, because this is a state highway, always has had 2 focuses. Number 1 is public safety. Number 2 is moving traffic. Guess what? Congestion is a downtown's very best friend. The slower they go, the more business you're going to get. By the way, angle in parking increases retail sales by 1/3 over low parallel. How many of you like parallel parking? Oh, good, we get to parallel park. Yeah, they're teaching cars how to do it themselves now. But you know, we have seen it work on highways. And in this case, your diners are on the sidewalk and just the pedestrians are walking around. And you know what? It slows traffic down. And it brings downtown to life.